oil change in the excavator. So we're welding a smooth side cutting edge on the front of the bucket. Let me show you what that's about here. Got a little sun glare. Just putting a flat plate over the teeth. Kind of a quick welding job, but use a chop saw cutting our metal. Excavator's over on oil change, so we're doing a little oil change as well. Blew a couple of lines on the dirt pan. I'm gonna fix those in a little bit. We've got it hooked up. We're gonna start moving dirt with it at some point. I got some learning to do there still, but just getting things going. Getting our welder set up. This thick plate, just gonna use, I'm looking at a 5/32 6013. Kind of zoom in here. I'm probably gonna run about 130 to 140 amps. Might come around here to our welder and show you what that's about. So I'll go over here to my actual, and I'm showing 145. So that's going to be a pretty close setting. I'm not going to V it out or anything, just going to lay some weld down. We had these setting in the seconds, and if we weld this together, it covers our teeth as we anticipated to do. I'll give a little footage of some welding. Here we go. Welding on the back side of this too. Here's this little gap. Now we run the Calmer's deck plates. Clean those all up. They have a little bevel to them so that when the corn comes down, we've talked about this before, but it doesn't butt shell, it hits, and this is on a little angle. You can see right there, and see when the corn hits, it helps that. I have our DB60 beam planter kind of tucked away. I've done the bearing kits for these. We did new arms, disc openers, and scrapers last year. I'm guessing I'm going to have to inspect the scrapers. Disc openers probably will run again. Now as I look here, we're starting to get some play. Sorry for the light. You can see that those wear, and as those wear, we have to either overbore these and put bushings in or have different arms. They make kits, but there's a lot of them to do. I'm probably not doing those yet, being a beam planter. If it was a corn planter, we'd want to do those. This planter, I have mixed emotions. It's you plant a lot of area when it plants, but we sure have a lot of bugs. It nearly gives you as many reasons it doesn't want to plant as it wants to plant. No, it's not that bad, but we're figuring it out. It's definitely a little more to it than the old Kinze ground drives and things, but I also think us buying a used planter that had this many acres on it, obviously bought somebody else's problems. Hopefully this is its year to shine. It really behaved there at the last part of the season, but we had our hands full for the first part. As I come in the barn and see the corn planter, the arms are super tight on it. This was a low acre planter. It got sold at an auction because of the technology. They couldn't figure out, well, they just couldn't figure this thing out. It's kind of an unusual phenomenon this year to have a almost completely dry fall. It allows us to drive anything in the field. We don't fight cleanup. Speaking of which, Show you our Sukup mixed flow 2413 dryer. We put this dryer in 2019, and we've got the cleanup pretty well done. See, we pressure wash and take all the panels off. Get inside. So you got access doors. Get the fines out and lots of debris. Take our air system, our blowers, all that stuff's down. Now a lot of our cleanup, we have to go climb things, get up higher. We usually rent a lift. An 80-foot usually does the job, but you can see in the background here, there's debris I need to pressure wash up at the top. That's just simply condensation steam coming out. The bees wings stick to the roof. All the bottoms have been pressure washed around on all the bins. Trying to show you for size, but this Sukup dryer is rated at 1,200 bushels per hour at 10 points, and it's rated at 2,400 bushels an hour at 5 points, if I remember correctly. It likes to eat corn. Now for me, the number one advantage to the mixed flow dryer is the heat reclaim in the bottom. So when you're cooling in the bottom before you dump, it's actually pushing and recycling that hot air up. So you're reusing your hot air instead of exhausting it out. That reclaim feature to me is pretty important. And also, you can see 1, 2, 3 sets of fans. With those, you've got a combination. So with your tower dryer, looks like a big cylinder. You're gonna have one motor, big one in the center. A lot of times they're 50, 60 horsepower. Now we're gonna have the same overall horsepower, but it's gonna be split amongst three different fans. Now that helps us with the low power. Our power's not the best here. With the situation we have, you can soft start each fan, which makes it great. So soft starting that one big motor, I don't know that we could anyway. But also when we had a lot of dry corn, but if you want 15% and you're shelling 17%, it is hard to take 2 points out. Well, we can run heat or no heat in all 3 chambers, 3 burners. You can run all 3, you can run 1, or you can run none. You can run 1 fan, all fans, just so many combinations. And there was times, I would say 10 years ago, you're just near guaranteed you're drying everything and you know it's going to be wet. Well, anymore you do, but it goes from one extreme to the other. So we face 28% corns where we usually start. 30 is a little wet, 28 we'll go 28% and literally could have 12% corn in the field too later on. So there's a big variation. And so having more access to more combinations for drying, that's been helpful. And also just having the capacity to dry wet corn lets us start early. Normally we get a premium. This year we didn't. Now I'm walking past my grain bins, and grain bins are a great idea. They normally pay, but there's no guarantees. This year, we rode the market down on some and put it in the bin, and it sold for less when we pulled it back out than when we had put it in. That doesn't happen often, but when it does, it's no fun. So that added to some of the excitement of the year. Now we're in kind of a low price, high volume year. For us, that's okay. Oh, we're doing things to cut costs. You know, my combine's a 2019. Obviously, I would like to have a little newer machine, but it just doesn't make sense on this particular day. There's things like that we have changed slightly. Going forward, I think we're going into a few years of a low price environment, and that's just something that farmers are used to. A lot of times, you know, 1, 2, 3 year income cycle. You make it 1 year and then you're going to lose 2, or it just depends. There's all kinds of variations, but right now, we just kind of know we're going to be tight margins. We're ready for it.